Hi all, this is Once a Future Gamer and welcome to another Pokemon challenge. Last week was the first challenge of Starter Pokemon Month as we took on Pokemon Crystal with just a single Bulbasaur. A challenge that was hard in places but surprisingly simple in others. Today it's time for one that is probably going to be anything but simple, but we will see if I can beat Pokemon Emerald using just a single Charmander. Everyone's favourite fire lizard! We've got a 309 base stat total, which is the same as Chimchar, Cyndaquil and randomly Phantump. We've got decent special attack and speed, our regular attack and special defence is okay, but our HP and defence are a little lacking. We're mono fire, so we are weak to ground, rock and water. That's not good in Hoenn, I know, but we do resist bug, steel, fire, grass and ice. Move-wise, we don't get Metal Claw, which would be good, but we do get a few decent moves in Flamethrower and Slash. That latter one might be useful until we get Return. Flamethrower is handy, but I don't think it'll be a game changer in this run. Dragon Rage would be useful if we got it about 25 to 30 levels earlier than when we do actually learn it. Via TM, we do get some decent ones. Dragon Claw might be useful for Drake. We get Iron Tail, not that likely I'll use it admittedly. Dig, Brick Break, Aerial Ace and Return. I hope we get a good hidden power type, something that can cover our weaknesses. Grass or Electric would be really good. I have a feeling I might need Double Team at the end. There are move tutors, but we can't learn anything good until post-game. Predictions. Well, if Cyndaquil can do this, Charmander can for sure. That's being flippant. We'll have to Ember our way through the Rock Gym, which is always tricky but doable. Psychic Gym will probably be horrible as we'll be getting hit repeatedly with Earthquake. The Water Gym could be rough too. Of the Elite Four, Phoebe will probably cause us issues. We might be able to solve Drake with Dragon Claw, but there is no quick fix for Wallace, who will be brutal. Steven Stone? Well, maybe. Probably not, but we'll see. The rules then. In combat, I can only use Charmander. Other Pokemon will be needed for HMs, but unable to fight. Only held items and Pokeballs in battle, but healing is permitted outside of battle. Last of all, no glitches or exploits. If you do enjoy what you see, then like, subscribe and ring that bell. It seems churlish not to, so I use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Torchic with Charmander, so that I can do the whole run with it. I chose to replace Torchic so that the rival would have Mudkip, which would probably be the hardest for us to fight. Or it would be if the rival wasn't a joke in this game anyway. We save Professor Birch from rabies by fighting the Zigzagoon and trying to claw it to death, all while it tries to growl us into submission. Spoiler! It doesn't work, and then he gives us the Charmander as a thank you present, which is actually pretty nice of him. We nickname the Charmander Flame Mon and move on. Our Charmander has the timid nature, which is increased speed and less attack. Not entirely ideal, if I am honest, but I suppose it could be worse. We'll have to make do with it and hope for the best. I get EV training, because most of the best coverage moves we get involve our physical attack, like Return and possibly Dig and Brick Break. I want to get the training that helps that. It helps that I don't think we can train the special attack EV yet. Not unless I want to farm routes with their 1% encounter rate. Also, I work on speed, so the Poochyena and Zigzagoon population in the area are about to become an endangered species, I guess. I do a bit of training and then go deal with May to the north of Old Aletown. She's not much of a threat at this point, so I'm not especially worried by her. We begin the fight by hitting her Mudkip with a scratch while it tries to growl at us. When our attack has been lowered, I switch to Ember, and we manage to burn the Mudkip on the first attempt, which is pretty nice. It does hit us with a tackle, but thanks to the burn, we probably take less damage than it does from the status, and we duly claim the win. It's all quiet now until we get to Rustboro and the Rock Gym. Now, this one does have the potential to be tricky, so I need to be careful. As soon as I arrive in town, I make a beeline for the gym with the intention of facing her. I doubt that we'll beat Roxanne at this level, but I suppose we can try for nothing. I think we are about to get hit with Rock Tombs. Well, it goes about as badly as I predicted. Her first Geodude takes less than half its health from Ember, and it takes a lot of them to try and knock it out. Though, I will say, we aren't helped by her healing. Worse, we get clattered by 2 rock throws, and the only reason we don't wipe on the first Geodude is because she misses the rock tomb when we're on red health. The second Geodude, despite taking about 2/3 of its health in damage from Ember, I worked out later that was Blaze kicking in, but it doesn't miss rock tomb and we fall in defeat. I hit the grind board then and start levelling. I come back and make another stab at level 21. Again, we can barely hurt the first Geodude with Ember, and we get clattered with 2 rock tombs as a result, before we bring it down following Roxanne dropping a heal. That doesn't do us a lot of good. Again, we inflict massive damage on the second one, but the rock throw lands and finishes us off. More grinding, I think. I have learned Rage, which could be useful over the course of the run, but really not here. I get to level 25 and go again. This time, we do at least get to the nose pass, but she lands 4 rock tombs in a row, and that's pretty much the sign that things are not going to go your way in a fight. We are getting to the point where we can 2-hit the Geodude though, plus she burned both her potions on the second one to make it trickier. Maybe I should smokescreen versus nose pass. I try that strategy and she still manages to hit 2 rock tombs through a smokescreen, so 4 rock tombs take me out. She does miss 1, but that's beside the point. I'm going to have to go and grind again, aren't I? Here we go again, and well, this is rough. If I keep going at this rate, I'll end up with Flamethrower before I've even gotten the first badge. I try again at level 28, somewhat hopeful this time. This time, we can knock the first Geodude out without taking damage, because it only goes for Defense Curl. Our Ember does about 3/4 of its health, but she burns a potion, so we do have to wear it down once again. The second Geodude misses a rock tomb on us at last after we hit an Ember, and we get her to waste her other potion as we whittle down said Geodude to give us the knockout while being unscathed. We hit an Ember on Nose Pass and get a burn on the first turn, which is fortunate because although it does land a few rock tombs, the damage becomes minimal thanks to that. I start to fire smoke screens at it, letting the burn damage it away. Plus, I'm liking the idea of playing a little game called How Many Rock Tombs Can Nose Pass Land Through How Many Smoke Screens. Eventually, and I mean that, it does start to miss them, and I do mean very eventually. Soon, I go on the offensive with more embers to down it, and at last gain the first badge. There is a May fight before we leave Rustboro after rescuing Pico. Given the level advantage we have, I don't think this fight is going to be a huge issue. She begins with the random Torkoal that she uses in these fights. We go for Rage and it insists on going for Curse over and over, which doesn't help. We hit a crit Ember and then another one, which wasn't a crit, to drop it hard. Mudkip is next and I go for another Rage, but it hits us with Growl, which isn't ideal. We exchange Scratches and Rages with Water Guns and eventually we do drop that Mudkip to give us a win. Interesting. I do need to find out exactly how Rage works, I think. Before long, we are in Dewford and it's time for the second gym battle with Brawley. They're coming thick and fast now. I fight through the gym and then face off with the leader. This goes well as I call for Rage versus his Machop and we get hit with Seismic Toss. Oh dear for him. Another Rage and we get clattered with a crit Karate Chop. He's not doing himself any favours here as we down Machop with Scratch. Meditite tries to charge up Focus Punch, but we down it with a single Scratch before Makahita is last. It survives our Silk Scarf boosted Scratch and eats a berry after he goes for Bulk Up. Another Scratch downs it hard though to give us a win. Next major fight is another May one, the one beneath Cycling Road. I don't suppose I'm too concerned with this one, right up until it goes wrong. Lombre is first and we one-hit it with Flamethrower for a quick knockout. However, next is Slugma, and if you ever thought Slugma couldn't be an issue, then here we go, you're in for a treat. We go for Rage because I want to build attack, but it goes for Yawn. I hit it with a smoke screen quickly before we go to sleep. We do get tagged with a rock throw, but otherwise we come out unscathed. but I crucially didn't get the attack rise. Marsh Stomp is an issue. We do about half with Flamethrower, but it does massive damage to us with Mud Shot. It survives Scratch and downs us with another Mud Shot. Yikes! I go again pretty much straight after. And the question on my mind is how much damage can Lombre realistically do to us? That's the thing, isn't it? As we begin the fight over again. This time I go for Rage 3 times versus Lombre, and we get hit with 2 Nature Power turn Swift attacks, which boost our attack massively. We mostly come out of it unscathed, which is nice. Then we one-hit Slugma with Scratch to send us into the fight with Marsh Stomp. I hit it with Scratch to do about 3/4 of its health. We tank the Mud Shot and down it with another Scratch for the win. Electric Gym next in the fight with Watson. You know what? I think we might be okay here. His Magneton is normally irritating, but I don't think it's going to be an issue. We begin the fight, and the first 3/4 is pretty simple, as we Flamethrower Voltorb out of existence. Electrike is next, and that also gets burned badly beyond recognition. Magneton is normally annoying, but we one-hit it with Flamethrower before Manectric is last, and this one does cause a few moments of worry as it survives Flamethrower and paralyses us with Thunder Wave. We burned it though, and at least the Citrus Berry takes it out of potion range. We get hit with 2 Shockwaves for decent damage, being fully paralysed for 1 turn, but eventually we down it with another Flamethrower. Next major fight is the Maxi one at Mount Chimney. I'm not too worried about this, but I do need to be careful though, because this one can go wrong very quickly. His Mightyena comes out first and intimidates us, but I blast it with a crit Flamethrower to the face to down it very quickly. Made it a hot dog, I guess. Camerupt is next, and I go for Rage while it hits us with a tackle. Bad move, bud. I go for another Rage, and it goes to magnitude 5 the next time, and as a result, we get more attack and can down it with Slash. Zubat Outlast is a single hit knockout, and that went way smoother than it might have otherwise. Fire-type trainer Flannery is next, and I might have to employ Rage tactics to boost our attack for sure. Torkoal and Camerupt can mess us up badly, and I don't want to end up attracted and earthquaked or body slammed. I'll try it with Slash, but I do have the option to get the return TM if needed, and I might go get that before the 5th gym for sure. Also, I always get lost in this gym. Not my favourite puzzle. It's not hard, it's just really annoying. Numel is easy. We do manage to get an attack boost off Rage when it hits us with Takedown, though only the one, which is unfortunate. It doesn't take long to take it out. I go for another Rage versus Slugma, but unfortunately it crits and one hits it before we can take any damage. I throw a Slash at Camerupt and it narrowly survives the blow, prompting a heal from her as we take it out with Rage and Slash just to make sure. Torkoal is last, and this one is trouble. It goes for Sunny Day as we hit Rage, meaning we don't get the attack boost. I go for Rage next turn, and she goes for Attract. Nuts. I go on the Slash offensive then. One blow, doing decent damage, and putting her just above the healing range while she hits body slams. The problem of course being when one of them paralyses us, and now we have 2 status afflictions to worry about. Even paralysed, we are faster, but we lose some turns to attraction and paralysis. We go into red health from a body slam. She did miss an overheat, which might have been fatal had it landed, and on the last chance saloon, we land a Slash to end it. Phew! Normal type trainer Norman is up next, or that's Dad to you and me in the context of the game, so we better head off to do that fight. It's worth being careful as his team has the capacity to mess you up. More Rage tactics, I guess. That's what we need to do. His first Pokemon is Spinder, and because it likes to employ confusion tactics, I don't mess about. I Flamethrower it out of existence. Vigoroth is next, and I go for Rage 3 times while we get hit with 3 slashes, building our attack up. We then end it with a Slash of our own. Hoenn is next, and we down it with a slash, and Slacking is up last. I don't know if our slash one hits it, so I go for Flamethrower, just because I'm worried about him hitting counter on us. It does slightly under half, but we have less than half our health left, and we get hit with a facade that downs us immediately. Oh, okay, I thought that was going too well then. I go again. I'll try the exact same tactics, but go for a physical move on Slacking this time, I guess. It is always a dangerous tactic to screw around with Slacking. Norman's is very unpredictable, as there are a few different things it can do. It can yawn, it can hit either facade or focus punch, or it can counter. On this fight, it goes pretty much the same, only we try the slash on Slacking and it still survives, still ending us with facade. I make a third try and I might try and smokescreen Slacking this time. Or I could use less rages on Vigoroth and hope for the best with more health. We don't have enough left to survive facade after taking 3 slash attacks from Vigoroth. Anyway, on this run, something very weird happens. We take Spinder down with a Flamethrower. That's the same. We land 2 rages on Vigoroth, getting hit with a slash and a facade before taking it out with a slash of our own. Hoenn is third, and this time it actually survives slash thanks to only having raised our attack twice. It fails with Belly Drum and Norman heals it. We hit it with Flamethrower. It survives on a sliver, but we burn it and that damage takes it down. We hit Slacking with a Flamethrower, doing less than half, but it lands on the Truant turn for some reason, and then another Flamethrower takes it out. Weird. Damage range for the latter, but it being subject to Truant on its first turn in the fight is very weird. Oh well, I'll take it. After much travelling, we have a May fight next outside the Weather Institute. Not too worried about this one. I have been training up because I know I'm going to need a massive level advantage for when we get to the Psychic Gym. If you are wondering why my level shot up like it did, I had an issue with an OBS update and I couldn't record anything for like 2 hours, so I spent that time grinding outside the Weather Institute. I reckon I'm good for the next bit of the game now, you know. I bounced through May's team quickly, one-shotting each of them with return. The only one who causes even a moderate bit of irritation is Lombre with the fake out. The Flying Gym is next, but I can get my hands on the Hidden Power TM in Fortree City, and there is an ideal opportunity versus the Kecleon outside the city to see what type our Hidden Power is. It's a growing sense of anticipation and... oh crap, it's Fire type Hidden Power. Well, that does us absolutely no help whatsoever. What a letdown! Anyway, I go and make my way to Winona and get ready to fight her. Thanks to that massive grind, there should be no sort of issues here. I think we will be good for the next 2 major fights, and the brick wall will come in the Psychic Gym, since I don't have a good way to hurt Solrock and Lunatone. Anyway, Winona first. Swablu goes down to return, which isn't a surprise. Pelipper protects, which also isn't a surprise, before we down it with return on the next round, giving us a second win. Altaria is up next, and it actually survives return, which is a shock, but only goes for Dragon Dance. She heals it, but I shoot it down with Flamethrower and finish it with return. Only a minor annoyance. Skarmory gets melted by our Flamethrower as we land the attack, and Tropius, Outlast, is set ablaze like a forest fire as we hit a Flamethrower. Done like dinner, I guess. In Lily Cove, we've got the final May fight, and I might as well do this because, as usual, I want to get into the department store, and I can't otherwise. She begins with Tropius, and it gets wrecked hard with Flamethrower. Slugma can't stand up to return, and in the next round of battle, neither can the Marsh Stomp, as it gets clattered down by the move. Ludicolo, Outlast, is also finished off with return, and we move on. Job done. After that, we've got to head back to Mount Chimney and the Magma Hideout, where there is another fight with Maxi to take care of. I think again we will be okay here due to our level lead, but still we need to be careful. He can inflict debuffs and status conditions that can balance the fight out very quickly, like his intimidating Mightyena. Not that that is an issue, as we flamethrower it out of existence very quickly. But the next one is Camerupt. I figure an attack is coming, so I go for Rage, but it uses Amnesia instead. Before, I choose to go for another Rage, and the Earthquake comes our way from Camerupt, wiping out half our health. Yikes! We finish it with Return though, and Crobat is next. It survives Return before landing Air Cutter. That's good, because it could have been Confuse Ray. He heals it with a Super Potion, and we blast it with Flamethrower to finish the fight. Okay then, on our way, and it's almost time for possibly the joint worst double battle in Pokemon history, up there with the Mars and Jupiter fight in the Sinnoh games, which is up next week. While I make my way towards the Moss Deep Gym, it's time to talk about what's going on with the channel. In the week just gone, the challenge last week was Pokemon Crystal with a single Bulbasaur, the first challenge of the year, and the first of Starter Pokemon Month. Through the week, we had episodes 26 through 29 of the playthrough of Pokemon Violet, and we completed the gym challenge in these episodes, as well as acquiring the pseudo-legendary of that region, and clearing out another Team Star base. There was also episode 12 of Skyward Sword. I still need to record more episodes of that and soon, because I'm going to be tapped out after next week. Plus, episode 4 of the RE1 remake playthrough, where I grabbed the last of the Mansion Death Masks. Productive week. Next week's Pokemon Challenge, as I mentioned moments ago, is a jaunt to Sinnoh, as I see if I can beat Pokemon Platinum using just a single Squirtle. The last of the Kanto starters in the last of the third games. As always, if you have any ideas for challenges, drop them in the comments section, or follow the links in the description to my Twitter or my Discord. I am doing themed months, but I can try and fit challenges in somewhere. If you haven't already done so, like and subscribe to help the channel gain prominence. It's good for the algorithm. And as always, if you want to support the channel in another way, there is a link in the description of the video to my Patreon. But as always, if you can't or don't want to, the fact you're here and watching is just enough. Tayton Liza is going to be frigging horrible, I can already tell. At least I should be able to power up with Rage, because there is no way we don't get smashed with Earthquake by Claydol. I'd like the Shell Bell beforehand, but I can't get it for another few hours of real world time. I might have to make do with a Citrus Berry. I'm not a huge fan of the puzzle here, but it is infinitely preferable to the one in this gym in Ruby and Sapphire. I am just saying. Anyway, the fight. I get greedy, and it probably costs me. I go for Rage on Claydol, and we get smacked with an Earthquake for about a third or a quarter maybe, and I figure we can take another, so I go for Rage again. The next Earthquake puts us on red health, even if the Citrus Berry does heal some of it back. We take Claydol out with Return before getting hit with Psychic from Xatu. We survive on red health. Return does take down Xatu, but Lunatone ends us with another Psychic. I know where I went wrong. I'll go for one Rage this time, I think. That might be enough to wreck through the team. Return is probably my best option for Solrock and Lunatone, especially given one of them has Calm Mind to resist Flamethrower. Anyway, this time we go for one Rage versus Claydol, who smashes us with Earthquake, while Xatu KOs Wynaut. Second turn, we knock Claydol out with Return, while Xatu obligingly goes for Calm Mind. Lunatone comes out, and we go for Xatu with Return, taking it out, while Lunatone Calm Minds. Our Return does big damage on Lunatone, who eats a berry and goes for another Calm Mind, while Solrock comes out. We down Lunatone with Return, and Solrock goes for Sunny Day. At which point, we start trying to flamethrower Solrock to death as it tries to end us with Psychic. I'm not sure what the tactics were there, but I will take advantage of the sun being up, and soon we knock it out to take the win. That was actually surprisingly painless. The next major fight then is the one with Archie, and it is an absolute pain to get to, but I guess I best get on with it. I don't like this section of the game, it's too HM heavy for me. Always an issue this, particularly Gens 3 and 4. Anyway, Archie. He cannot stand up to our firepower as we roast the Mighty Enna with Flamethrower to down it. Crobat is a single hit knockout with Flamethrower, and that's also pretty dang handy, before Sharpedo is last. We crit that with Flamethrower, and that's a wrap. Bar having to get Rayquaza to sort out Groudon and Kyogre, we're done with that part of the plot. There is still the Water Gym though, and this likely won't be easy. Juan's Kingdra is always a frigging pain, and so I think I'll want as much power behind me as possible so that I can one-hit it. Between heals, double team and rest, it does not go down easily. But I have faith in my Charmander. I do need to set up, but Love Disc is very much not the Pokemon to do it on, and I quickly take it out with Return before Celio is next. This is fine. I call for Rage and we tank a Water Pulse. I decide to go for another Rage, we get hit with a second Water Pulse. Confusion would be bad here, but it doesn't happen and we can down Celio with Return. Next is Whiscash and it goes down to Return. Crawdont is 4th and it also can't stand up to my Return, which is a pretty good sign, especially as Kingdra comes out and we duly smash into it with Return, giving us that vital 8th gym badge. Before I head to the league, I rush over to Meteor Falls to get the Dragon Claw TM, and while I'm here, I find a shiny Solrock, which is pretty cool. I use my Master Ball to capture it, but then it's time for the fight with Wally in Victory Road, and I figure this shouldn't be too bad. We begin the fight, and versus Altaria, I call for a Dragon Claw, which it narrowly survives and goes for Safeguard in retaliation. He heals it and we take it out with another Dragon Claw and Rage. I'm suddenly concerned, but Altaria does have decent special defence, I believe. Delcatty goes down to Flamethrower and he sends out Magneton next, who we take down in the same fashion. Roselia is 4th and a Flamethrower finishes that off before Gardevoir is last. It survives our Return, rather surprisingly, and goes for Future Sight. He heals it, I drop it with Dragon Claw and another Return. Giving Wally Gallade in the remakes was 100% the right choice, it suits him more. We arrive in Evergrande City and here is my Charmander's stats at this point. We are level 84 and our speed is exceptional. Everything else is okay, but nothing really special. Our attack stats are a bit meh. Our physical attack slightly better than our special defence slightly better than our regular defence. We will have to see how this one goes, but take your guesses on if we can do it at this level or not. Now! Up first of the Elite Four is Dark Trainer Sydney, and this shouldn't be too much of an issue, though Crawdont could be a problem potentially. The rest I'm not that worried about though. I always like that he is the only Elite Four member I can think of to use the evolved form of an early route mammal Pokemon in the Mightyena. Now on the subject of the Mightyena, we wreck it with Flamethrower for a quick early victory, before he brings Absol out next, and that is also taken out with a swift Flamethrower. Crawdont is 3rd, and I hit it with a Dragon Claw, which does more damage than expected, but it survives to inflict big damage on us with Surf. We take it out with Return though. Shiftry is 4th and Flamethrower does the job before Cacturn is last and another Flamethrower roasts that overgrown Scarecrow plant. We did that pretty smoothly at least anyway. The next one probably won't be smooth though, as Phoebe is often horrific in these challenges. I think we should be fine, but we've got to be careful. We have to watch out for Protect and Precious Stall, as well as Curse, because that is a real danger. Anyway, her first Dusclops protects on the first turn as I go for Rage to stall it. We hit a Flamethrower when Protect fails, then I go to try and finish it with Dragon Claw, but it manages 2 Protects in a row before the third one fails, which is somewhat aggravating, but at least we take it down. The second Dusclops hits us with Earthquake, but we down it with 2 Flamethrowers to sandwich that move. And next is Bayonet number 1, who we take it out with Flamethrower. Sableye also goes down to a Flamethrower. All the while, we're getting health back thanks to the Shell Bell. And the second Bayonet gets taken out with Flamethrower too. Winner, winner! Ice Trainer Glacier is 3rd, and it should seem easy, but given 3/5 of her team is also Water type, we might have reason to be concerned right here, right now. This fight is a lot closer than the previous two for sure, as we begin versus the first Celio, and I want to boost our attack, and so I go for Rage. It only goes for Hail, which doesn't help, before, at the second attempt, when I go for Rage, it hits us with Body Slam. I really don't want to risk paralysis, and so I down it with Return. She sends Wall Rain out next, and we hit it hard with Return for about 3/4 of its health, but it hits us hard with Surf, putting us in red health. Ouch! Even as it eats the berry, another Return downs it, and Glalie, number 1, is next. Flamethrower ends that, which is handy as it gets us some health back. And next is Celio, number 2, who survives Return on a Sliver, which is annoying and puts the Hail back up. She heals it, we down it with Flamethrower and Return before we take the second Glalie down with a Flamethrower. So far so good then. Whew! Dragon Trainer Drake is 4th, and I think there is a chance we are going to get smashed by a super effective move here, since he has rock, ground and water moves in his arsenal through Shelgon, Flygon, Kingdra and Salamence. This is the reason I got Dragon Claw, and I hope this pays off. Anyway, it nearly does. Shelgon is first, and because it knows Protect, I stall out with Rage. Then on the next turn, I one-hit it with Dragon Claw. That's a good start. Flygon is next, and unfortunately, it survives Dragon Claw and inflicts massive damage on us with Earthquake before we do finish it off. I think this isn't going to be our fight at this point. Salamence is next. It survives Dragon Claw, which is special in this game for some reason, and hits us with one of its own to leave us on 1 solitary hit point. But we take it out on the next turn with another Dragon Claw. I could do with Altaria being next, but he sends Kingdra in, and we can't one-hit it with our Dragon Claw, thus getting taken down with Surf. I need to hit harder than it would seem, so I go back on the grind trail. I rock back up at level 90, and hopeful that things might be a bit better this time. We're doing well until we get to Salamence, and then we get clattered with a Rock Slide, and when it comes to Kingdra, we can't one-hit it, and once again, it finishes us off with Surf. I go back in at level 97, and believe me, I lost plenty of attempts getting back here to Phoebe and Glacier. If this doesn't go for me, I'll max the level out and take it from there. That might not be enough, or it could be a tipping point. Why do I have a horrible feeling I'm going to need double team versus Wallace? I make a few attempts and realise with a good damage roll I'm not that far from one-hitting Flygon, Salamence and Kingdra. Now the question is, will that extra 3 levels make a difference? If I boost up to level 100, will it save me? Let's find out! Versus Shelgon, I go for a Dragon Claw and it thuds harmlessly into the Protect, which is somewhat irksome, but I don't want to take the chance on it going for Rock Tomb. At the second attempt, we land the Dragon Claw and one-hit Shelgon. Flygon is next, and this time our Dragon Claw one-hits it, which puts us into a good position going into Salamence. It narrowly survives Dragon Claw and hits Rock Slide on us for quite decent damage, but he obligingly heals it, and our second Dragon Claw both one-hits it and restores some health through our Shell Bell. Kingdra is a one-hit with Dragon Claw before Altaria is last. It survives Dragon Claw, which is rather unhelpful, but I go for Return and we get a crit to down it hard, meaning we can advance to face the champion. I wonder how many attempts Wallace will be. I probably need a few things to go right here, I would say. I'm going to make a few attempts to see how things play out and plan my strategy. I want to power up Return with Rage, but it's probably not the best thing to do versus Wailord at full health. Taking a full health Water Spout isn't going to be great for our general health, I'd think. Anyway, I go for a Dragon Claw versus Wailord and it hits for slightly under half its health. It goes for Double Edge and I curse, knowing I could have gone for Rage safely there. I do that on the next turn, and with it down to about a quarter, the Water Spout doesn't do that much damage to us. I hit another Rage to put it into red health, and it hits us with another Water Spout, doing even less damage but boosting our attack even more. Suddenly, I think we've got him in a trap. He heals and I go for the kill with return, getting health back through the Shell Bell. The key to this is knowing what Pokemon are going to do what. Ludicolo will probably double team, but it's not an issue as we take it out with a single return. Tentacruel will probably try and poison us with Toxic or Hydro Pump us, but it doesn't matter as we down it with return. Whiscash would likely go for Amnesia on the first turn, but we down it with return before Gyarados is next and the Intimidate comes our way. Okay, I go for Rage in hope that an attack comes our way, but it only goes for Dragon Dance. Our Rage crits though, and we take it out on the next turn with return. My Milotic is last, and just on the chance that it does attack, I go for Rage again, thinking we can tank an attack. Instead though, we get poisoned by Toxic. That puts us on a timer, and so I go for return, a hit and hope while we're healthy, and we down it to give us a win and claim us the champion title. Believe it or not, that actually was the first try. I'm not sure I believe it myself as we enter the Hall of Fame and become acknowledged as the champion of Hoenn, and the credits roll, letting us bask in our victory. Well, that was interesting. Of course, I could make an attempt on Steven Stone and see how we do. I wouldn't say I'm confident, but it'd be interesting to find out. I do make a few attempts, but it's the same old story. Too many of his Pokemon, no Earthquake, for us to put up an effective fight against him, and thus I'm calling it. I have got a busy 2 weeks ahead with challenges, and I don't want to waste time with this. Well, I hope you enjoyed, I'll say that much. It was interesting. I wouldn't have figured Drake to be harder than Wallace, but there we have it. Mind you, I think the circumstances worked for me quite nicely in the Wallace fight. Join me again next time for another challenge with a Kanto starter Pokemon, as we see if I can beat Pokemon Platinum with just a single Squirtle. Water types generally don't do bad in runs, so we will have to see. As always, thanks for watching. If you have enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to leave a comment too, all of this stuff is good for the almighty YouTube algorithm. What's going on with me? Spent a couple of days dog sitting a huge Great Dane with my girlfriend towards the back end of last week, which was definitely an interesting experience. Went out drinking one of those nights, and that was definitely an even more interesting experience. And not an altogether wise one either. But hey, live and learn. I'm in my 30s now. You'd think I'd have learned by this point, but clearly not. Things are still going well with her at the time of writing, so I guess we'll have to see. I'm still looking forward to see what happens next. Got 2 more weeks off work coming up soon, so that should give me a chance to get more work done on the channel. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to check out now though. Thanks for watching once again. As always, this has been Once and Future Gamer, and this has been Pokemon Emerald with a single Charmander. Take care folks, have a great day, and see you next time! Bye bye now!